All right, how's it going, y'all? So today we are going over probably Synology's single best feature for business owners, and that is Synology's Active Backup for Business. We're going to be doing today on a Windows machine, but this works with Windows, Mac, Linux, file servers, just about everything. And it can even back up virtual machines running either on VMware or Hyper-V. And it is all completely license free. Pretty much all you need is a Synology Plus model with BTRFS, and you've got license-free backups for all your machines with bare metal capabilities. That means that you can actually fully restore the hard drive exactly as it was on a new computer should something happen. So the hard drive dies on a machine, you can literally just get a new hard drive, replace it, and copy over the entire operating system and everything, and boot it right back on up, and you are back to the races. It works absolutely great, and it also has global deduplication. So when you're backing up 30 copies of Windows, all those common files aren't taking up extra space. Some of my clients actually have deduplication ratios approaching 3-to-1. Those are ones who have just like tons of small computers that are being backed up because honestly, they're mostly just Windows settings on there. And by the way, if you want to hire me, there's a link down in the description below for that. But today, we're going to go over and set up Active Backup for Business on a Synology NAS, and we are going to be backing up a Windows PC. And the settings here, I'm going to go over pretty in depth for the Windows stuff as well as general Active Backup for Business. This is actually how I back up my AWS VMs, actually using Active Backup for Business for Linux. It works really well, and I've got tutorials covering all that. So the first thing you need to do is just log into your NAS and install Active Backup for Business from the package center. I would also highly recommend either having a static IP address or a DHCP reservation on the NAS. So if you don't know how to do that, log in your Wi-Fi router. There'll be a button that says DHCP reservation. And what that's going to do is it's going to set the NAS to always having the same local IP address on your network. Then come in and just open up Active Backup for Business and install it from the package center. I've not set any of this up just yet. And Active Backup for Business is a special package. Because Synology is open source, they kind of lock this feature behind, and you actually have to have a NAS to activate it. So what you do is you just activate and just sign into a Synology.com account. I'm going to blur this out. And that's all you have to do. If you do have this thing totally on a isolated network with no internet access, they actually still allow you to do that. You just message support with your serial number, and they will generate a key and send it to you, and you just type it on in. It does work on a totally isolated network. And this right here is our Active Backup for Business. So we can see on the left-hand side a bunch of stuff we can choose to set up and do. But the first thing we want to do is, one, we want to make sure that we set up a certificate that is valid for 10 years. So you really want to use this Active Backup for Business dedicated certificate right here. And if it's not enabled, you just hit enable right there and save. And that way you have a certificate that expires in 10 years. That way you have a self-signed certificate that you can use to make sure, yes, everything's good the first time. And then from there, your computers will trust this backup for 10 years. Essentially, when this renews in 10 years, you will have to go in and re-sign into every single one of your PCs to get back up and running. But this way, you have the ability to have full SSL encryption, so all your backups are happening encrypted, and you can trust the certificate. So as long as there's not a man in the middle, in the moment you are setting up that first Active Backup for Business task on a single machine, you're safe. If you do have a certificate authority or anything like that, obviously you can use that as well. But for the vast majority of people, this right here is what to do. Then the next thing we want to do is configure our storage. So if you've set up Active Backup for Business already, you might not be able to do this. Active Backup for Business allows you to choose a couple of storage settings only on the first setup of storage. So right now you can see I've got no storage yet, but it has automatically created the Active Backup for Business shared folder. So what we want to do is we want to enable compression on this. And so to do that, we're actually going to set up our template. The way these templates work is these are the default things that happen whenever you hook up. And there's a lot of options you can do it. You can actually have it applied to specific users, applied to specific cases, choose where they go. There's a lot of options there, which is pretty useful. And we're going to use this to pretty much set up exactly how we want all of our PCs to be backed up. So I'm going to choose the one for Windows for PCs. and I'm going to edit it. And for the source and destination, I'm going to choose some basic settings here. The source type is the device. So this will be the Windows PC. Do I want to back up an external hard drive hooked up to it? Up to you. For the destination, we are going to choose Active Backup for Business. And we can see right here, if we want, it still has destination compression as available. Once we click OK on that, we can now enable compression at backup destination. This is something that will slow down your NAS. The CPU will be taxed significantly higher when you're compressing data, but you can get a pretty significant space savings. So if you're okay with slower backups, compression on can actually have a significant space increase. And you can also have a separate encryption dedicated just to Active Backup for Business. But for most people, I'd probably just recommend, if you're going to encrypt, have it the encryption at the volume level, as it does not have as much of a storage impact, but it's really up to your corporate policies there. So in this case, I'm actually going to disable compression, but check that box if you want it, because I'm going to be doing this for a tutorial where I'd rather have a fast backup. We will want to enable data transfer compression, as it does just help save on backup time. Computers are very fast at compressing data, so this can significantly speed everything up. And then right here, we've also got a useful option for having a bandwidth limit, and this is per device. So let's say you want to make sure this can run without overwhelming everybody's computers. You say, let's not have any computer backing up over 10 megabytes per second. And that way, if somebody's downloading files, they don't really notice it as much. But I'm going to leave that on here. And the one thing I will do is wake the computer from sleep to run the scheduled backup. But you can see there's a lot of settings here to choose. Next up, we're going to do our schedule. We're going to set our backup frequency to daily, which, funny enough, is somehow glitched out and not showing here. What's actually in these two fields is this one says hourly, this one says daily. Don't know why it is glitched like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to choose our time. So we're going to do, we'll do weekdays at 9 a.m. And then there's this optional event, which is really useful, where we can say, hey, anytime they boot up, if they've not backed up in 3 days, go ahead and immediately kick off a backup. So you can choose options like that. You can have it only run with that time. Once again, a lot of options for that. And you can also have a blackout window where you only allow them to run a certain time. And finally, what I always like having is backup instantly after the client is connected to the NAS for the first time. So as soon as you hit go, it'll immediately start going. And finally, our retention settings. This defaults to off, which is very odd to me. And we want to set up a retention policy, and it's really up to how much space you want to use and how long you want to be able to go back for. These are not as efficient as snapshots. I have seen these take up a considerable amount of space just because it's not got that perfect versioning that snapshots have. So if you keep a ton of versions, you may find it taking up a fair amount of space. What I generally like to do for most people is have all versions. So if we do multiple versions in a day, keep those for 3 days. Then after that, I like 7 days. Basically, you've got one per day for the last 7 days. And then after that, maybe we just want the last 4 months. Or if this is really just meant for a super easy restore for files, just 7 days is fine. I mean, for most people and most businesses, stuff should not be stored on a local computer anyway. This is really for programs and stuff. So 7 days is probably fine for most people, but we'll do 4 months. Why not? And you can also edit these per device. Finally, privileges are going to be set up and managed later on. Okay, so now we are all set up and ready to go. And we'll see that right here, storage has now been set up and we do not have compression on this thing. Now, all we've got to do is log into our PC and set up the client. Okay, so now I've just RDP'd into the machine I want to back up. And I'm just going to go ahead and install the software. Just go to Synology.com, go on the downloads, pick the desktop utility, and then we're going to be installing Synology Active Backup for Business Agent. By the way, if you're on the computer or just want to download the file, you can actually click on this PC or Mac, hit Add Device, and actually hit download the 64-bit version right here. But I'm just going to download it directly from the website. And we're going to back up the Windows 64-bit version. And now just installing it like you would any other program. And all it's going to ask us is these three questions. So server address, this is however you can hook up to it. I'm just going to use the host name. And just log in with an account with privileges. So there's an entire option for setting up all these different privileges for, hey, if you want people to use their own usernames, their domain names, whatever. But we're just going to use an admin credential for this. We're going to see that the SSL certificate is not trusted, but once we hit proceed anyway, we're good for 10 years. If you have 2FA on, it will go ahead and pop up with that. The last thing is right here, we can choose our backup type between being a PC or a server. PCs are probably what you're going to choose, but there is an option for Windows servers. Windows servers have additional functionality where you can actually restore them as a virtual machine. But we're just assuming these are workstations, so we're going to choose PC, and we'll see all of our nice settings that we've done in that template. And now we see Active Backup for Business is running. And we can see this thing flying on through. So I'm just going to let this thing finish, and we're going to come right back on in. It's not going to be long at all, though. And just like that, we have done our very first backup. We pretty much control all of our settings and everything directly through the actual NAS interface. So this is where you're going to do things like update the agent to newer devices, actually do one-off manual backups, just like this, as well as just overall changing settings. Once you install it, it's really designed that you don't really have to go in and manage it on the clients themselves. It pretty much just runs by itself. You may run into a couple of weird errors, especially if you're doing really large deployments. Those error codes, just copy and paste them into Google. Synology then has great articles for showing what those things are, and it tends not to be that hard. The other thing is, these backups are Delta backups. So I can run this thing really, really quick. So if I click backup right now, nothing's changed of it, obviously. So it's going to say waiting for device, preparing backup, backing up. Yeah, it happens really, really, really fast for adding in new versions. We also can come into our overview tab and now see how much space is being taken up in total. So we can see that the drive sizes themselves, we've only got one machine, is 36 gigabytes of actual used space. And then we can see that a lot of that was actually just being able to be deduplicated on out for one reason or another. This is just on a single machine. If you have a lot of Windows machines, you're going to get even larger versions of that. Now, one other thing I do want to mention is backing up Active Backup for Business. So especially for large companies, you want an offsite backup of your critical server infrastructure. Hyper backup is not the tool for that job. Instead, I would highly recommend setting up a snapshot replication. So what you do is you have another Synology offsite that gets replicated to. The reason for this is Active Backup for Business isn't just files. It's a lot of underlying BTRFS metadata that allows that deduplication and all that stuff to occur. And Hyper Backup can do it, but it's really inefficient. Setting up a snapshot replication, replicating the Active Backup for Business directory, allows for a near instant failover, where on the other system, you can do a test failover and pull computer files off that remote machine without having to do anything with a main unit. It's really great and can get you back up and running very quickly. For disaster recovery for companies, it is a phenomenal option. Definitely choose snapshot replication for that. While we're talking about snapshots, we should also talk about setting up snapshots. And really, you don't need a lot of snapshots of this Active Backup for Business folder. It kind of manages itself, right? It's got its own versions independent of snapshots. But this is really great for ransomware protection. So if you are looking for having a true immutable backup of your PCs, what you can do is you can set up a 14-day or a 30-day immutable snapshot task of Active Backup for Business. I'm not going to set it to immutable because this is a test server. I need to be able to format it and everything. But what this would do is this would lock your administrators out of being able to blow away the backups for 30 days. So that means that if somebody gets a domain admin account and tries to delete all of your backups, tries to format the volume, tries to do whatever, they are locked out from a hardware clock for 30 days. Then for the retention settings for that, you really want to make sure you're not keeping too many. Do not do every hour because you're just going to balloon in space. Whenever you've got something already having its own versions, you don't need to use snapshots that often. What you can do is basically just keep a snapshot of the day for 30 days, and that is more than sufficient. Your versions should all be set in active backup for business. But for most people, if you're not looking for that, you don't even need to have snapshot set up there. All right, now let's talk about doing a restore. I'm going to do a separate full restoring the bare metal virtual machine in a separate tutorial just because it's a lot more involved. That's going to go over setting up the restore media and everything. We'll leave a link down in the description below. It shouldn't be too long after this video comes out, but we're going to set it up in a separate video. For this, we are going to show a restore of files. And so we open up the application called Active Backup for Business Restore Portal. And right here, we can see on the upper right-hand corner our tasks. These are all the PC names and all that good stuff. And we then have a clock down here, a calendar, where we can choose the exact time. So you saw I did those 3 backups. We can swap between them and get files back exactly as they were at certain times. Then from there, we just come in, pick out whatever files we want, and we can actually just restore them directly to the machine, or most of the time what you're going to do is download them and copy them on over. So you can see them and you can swap between different versions depending on what you need to do. You can also come in and even give users the ability to restore their own files and a lot of stuff like that that you can look into and go over. We're not going to cover it here because most people are not going to set that up, but it is very useful and very in-depth. Finally, there is this calendar right here that's really useful, especially for businesses who are running a lot of these things, where you can just see the days that you had issues and days that everything backed up nicely. You can see the stuff that has a backup but is not backed up in a long time. There is a really, really solid amount of data here, and you get used to the portal pretty quickly. All right, and that's going to be it. We now have our computer automatically backing up to the NAS on a continual basis. And you saw how fast it is because it knows exactly what's changed. We're just going to leave it running, and now if we ever need to restore a computer, we can go ahead and grab it right then and there. And it's also being deduplicated and optionally compressed, so it's taking up a lot less space than it really needs to. That's going to be it for this tutorial. If you want to hire me, there's a link for that down in the description below. Have any other questions, put those down in the comments below. And stay tuned for that video that actually goes over the full restore and setting up that restore media, because especially if you do want to be able to restore files, you will want to make this thumb drive. All right, have a good one. Bye.